All right, here we go. Shawn Cotton, CEO and founder of Say Cheese TV. Welcome back to VladTV.
3 years later, baby, we back.
3 years. It's actually
3 days short.
3 days short of 3 years. July 17th, 2018 is when we did our last and first interview.
First interview. A lot has changed too. A lot has changed.
A lot has changed. A lot has changed. You know, we were actually talking before the cameras turned on. A lot of media outlets came and went.
Yeah.
People, more importantly, people have left the earth.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite rappers have passed away, unfortunately, violently.
Man.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you and I are still going strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a blessing. You know, like you said, a lot of people come and go. But it's hard to really, transition and change, and, Instagram changing with their guidelines and YouTube changing, and social media runs the world now. So you kind of always gotta, be the innovator in this space.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I just want to personally thank you, because I've seen a few interviews you've done and posts and comments. And whenever my name gets brought up, you've always been like very respectful, and very kind, when speaking about me, even when the world is going crazy and everyone's trying to turn against me and cancel me, whatever else. You
have the biggest, YouTube platform for hip hop. I seen the list you posted and you were #1. And for you to reach out to me says a lot. I have a lot of people of my own kind that are black, on top of their shit as far as being an influencer, and they don't even recognize me. So I just keep it real when I keep it real. You feel what I'm saying? I don't hold nothing, and I'm not a follower. If I like you, I fuck with you. If I don't fuck with you, you don't exist to me. So.
Well, one of the things that I've always done, and you could ask anyone, from academics to yourself to Adam 22, even to Charlemagne, is that when I see somebody who's really making noise and is up and coming, the first thing I do is reach out to them. I give them a platform if that's what they want. I share whatever knowledge I have. I'm, at 48 years old, there's lots of people older than me, that have been in this game. But in terms of the YouTube thing, I'm the triple OG of this, because I was, essentially the first hip hop YouTube channel to launch seriously and drop content every single day for the past 13 years and so forth. So I always felt like, I could help people, help steer the younger dudes in the right direction. And as they get hot, whenever I need, some help and I could ask them for advice back, usually they're respectful enough to do that. So I've never been the type to, oh yeah, let me diss this dude for a few extra views, or let me get on my platform and bash him. Cause I feel like there's no business sense in that.
Facts.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And yeah, man. And like, I think, what was it with Boosie? I had made a comment. It was actually titled like, Shawn Cotton and Adam 22 became millionaires following the VladTV blueprint. And you responded, you're like, thank you.
Yeah. A lot of people, what's up. Yeah. I commented, there was a lot of hate in those comments, but you're right. When we did our first interview, that was the first thing I said. Probably before we even really got in the interview, I was like, man, I copied your shit at Best Buy when I was cleaning the refrigerators. Like, I was following your blueprint. I know my style was a little bit different back then, but breaking it up in clips and the way you word things and adding the parts, that's from Vlad. Why would I hate and why would I hide it?
Right. I mean, like, me and Too Short were talking about this, about how so many people copied his slang and his words and his style. And he's like, yo, that's what you're supposed to do. You put this stuff out in the world and people are supposed to be influenced by it. And they're supposed to take little pieces of what you do and incorporate it into their own thing. It's a compliment. It's not an insult. It's not a whatever. Because people are like, oh, Vlad is interviewing Charleston White now. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Like, people were,
who cares?
Yeah, people were hitting me up like, yo, what do you think? That's supposed to be yours. And I'm like, nah, like, man, this is media. Like, for him to go from Say Cheese to the #1 YouTube platform on YouTube, it's a blessing. Like, Charleston hit me up thanking me. So I wasn't mad. That's just what it is. When you're hot, you're gonna bounce around on other platforms. That's just the way of the game.
I mean, that's why people do these interviews. So other platforms could see them and they could expand their viewership. I mean, that's it. That's why people do it. We go and look at all of our competitors and see who they're interviewing and seeing how those numbers react. And if we think it's going to work for us, then that's what we're going to do. And other people are doing the same thing with us.
Yeah.
This is why you see Boosie showing up on other platforms. You know, you've seen other regular guests that we've done show up on other platforms because that's what people are supposed to do. But,
Yeah.
you know, the internet's going to do the internet. And
Yeah, they weird.
well, I just want to talk about your business a little bit because since last time I felt like you've expanded quite a bit.
Right.
Now, the real estate thing. I remember you were talking about owning various properties and owning some land and so forth. But I feel like since, you know, in those 3 years, you've actually expanded your real estate holdings.
Well, I sold a lot of my fix and flips. At the time, I'm gonna keep it all the way real. I was dating my real estate agent, and that didn't work out too good. You know how it goes. So it didn't work out too good. I kind of lost the love of real estate because when fix and flips, while you're fixing a property, you still have to pay the monthly mortgage. So I was losing a lot of money on like 8 different houses per month. So you do the math. If I'm paying from 15 to 25, 8 different properties a month, that's a lot of money. So I kind of lost the love of it. I fixed a lot of them up, sold a lot of them. I got like 2 or 3 left. But yeah, I've really expanded outside of real estate after that, just because of that sour taste I had in my mouth for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what people need to realize about real estate, because a lot of people compare it to stocks, which is what I do. But what they have to realize is that unlike stocks, real estate requires a good amount of work on your end. You don't just put the money in and then go on with your regular life and expect things to just kind of do its own thing, like investing in Amazon or Google. You actually have to roll your sleeves up, be hands-on. Even if you have an apartment building, you got to help out and get a good management company, then overlook that management company.
Yep.
It's not a hands-on just money stream like certain other types of investments. So, you got to see that for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're going to do these flips, and they potentially could work out well, but you have to also put aside the time from your regular business.
And the contractor has to be on point. So like, for example, the brick wall may be $22,000 a fix. He may charge you $8,000 because you don't know that it's worth $2,000. And then you're losing money because you're overspending on something that shouldn't take that much. So you have to get the best contractor who wants to see you win. And I ran into like 3 fucked up contractors. Either they didn't do the work right or they're overpricing. So and shout out to Jim. That's my contractor now, and he gets it done. Shout out to Jim. Made a lot of money together.
Yeah, I mean, it takes work, just like everything else. You have to, really devote a lot of time and learn the ins and outs, find the good people, get rid of the crooks, get ripped off a couple times in the process, and then figure out whether you really want to do it or whether you're doing it just for the money.
It's real. Like you said, just because you have money doesn't mean you're going to win in real estate. You got to do the work. You got to do the dirty work. And, contractors is key, and managing as well. All that takes place. It's just not, you just can't get in and think it's going to be, it's just green. It ain't like that.
Now, you bought your own house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I bought it for like $650,000, and it's almost $1 million house now.
Nice.
It's around probably 900 now.
Okay. And I don't want to know your exact location, but this is somewhere in the Dallas area somewhere?
One of my houses that I stay at on a day-to-day, yes. The house that we're talking about, yes.
Dope. How did that feel to, because as an adult, you were still living with your mother at one point.
Yes, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 26. My mom, she was single parent home. It was a single parent home. My mom and dad were married for 22 years. And it was kind of a blessing that they divorced because my dad is by the book. Go to college, work a job, or get out. And my mom is the hustler. Remember I told you before, we were selling fake car insurance, fake doctor notes. Not the doctor notes where you go to the pharmacy and get drugs, but let's say you want to call out of work. I would sell them to like my friends for like $20. So yeah, we were hustling, you know what I'm saying? And my mom's a hustler. So we was doing all that shit. they got divorced. So my mom was like, she needed my help on the side to pick my sister up from school and things like that. So yeah, I stayed with my mom till I was like 26, till I was good. I had like 100 grand saved up and I moved out.
Yeah, and I remember you had made a comment, I think, on one of your Instagram posts on your personal channel where you're like, yo, don't be so quick to move out your house if you have a place to stay and stack your money. When I saw that, I was sort of a little bit torn because I moved out at 18.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people like yourself who live with their mom and stack 100,000 is probably the 1%. The 99% are the people who live with their mom and don't really get motivated to do much else.
You think I was selling a dream?
What do you mean?
You like on that the IG post, you think I was kind of misleading?
No, I think you were telling your personal experience.
Okay.
Right? And if you look at how you ended up ultimately, you could see the type of person that you were. But I feel it's a little dangerous for someone to say, oh yeah, Shawn says I can keep living with my mom and not get a job and not get my own apartment. Yeah.
Well,
yay.
Well, on the IG post, I was like, make sure if you read it, the whole thing, I was like, make sure you give your mom money for groceries. So then your mom it doesn't feel like you're using your mom or you're using your dad. It feels like you're there for a purpose. Like every week, I gave my mom $50, $200 a month. It wasn't shit, but it was still to where as though she felt appreciated and I wasn't just wasting space. So that's what I was getting to.
Yeah. And at the time you were working at Best Buy, I guess?
Yeah, Best Buy, Home Depot, minimum wage too at Home Depot, in the sun pushing carts. Terrible.
Right. So you weren't making enough to get your own place at the time?
Nah.
Yeah. Not at minimum wage.
No.
Nah. Not unless you want to live in essentially a dangerous neighborhood. You know what I mean? Where you're risking your life. To live in a nice, safe area.
No.
Minimum wage is not going to do it. Not in America. So you were kind of in a space where, okay, you needed to figure out what you want to do. You're not making enough. You're stacking your money. Your mom is cool enough to let you stay. Cool. A lot of people would probably, just sit there and get comfortable in that home lifestyle, not save money. Whatever money they got, they would party with it. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that, and I've noticed that in my life. I've noticed that when I deal with people who still live with their parents, there isn't that level of maturity a lot of times.
Right.
Because they know that if they fail, well, they're still going to be in the same place anyway.
Yeah.
They're still going to be at their mom's house. They may not have extra spending money, but they're still going to be at their mom's house. Whereas if you're paying rent and you know that, okay, look, if I don't make rent this month, I don't know what's going to happen next month.
Right.
There's a certain level of pressure that I feed off of. I was homeless when I first started my career. I was sleeping on couches and I was selling mixtapes out of my backpack. And I'm like, yo, I got to make this. I got to be hungry. I got to be better than everyone because there is no plan B for me right now. I don't like sleeping on the couch. I don't like living in the hood in Brooklyn. I don't like living in this shitty studio apartment when I finally was able to get one. I don't like DJing at this dying strip club and having the owner yell at me, when he gets annoyed with me like I'm nobody. I'm gonna be somebody one day and this is not working for me. So that to me drove that hunger. But for you chose a different path and it worked out for you. So congrats.
Yeah, it was it paid off, and I don't know why I was just disciplined. I feel like, like you said, you had to be disciplined and I stayed away from the club. I stayed away from people who weren't motivated. I traveled a lot. I got on the road. Me and my friends used to get together. Each used to put up $200 and just hit the road and do interviews, and it paid off.
And you actually bought your mom a house?
Yes. Yeah, I just bought her a house.
How long ago was that?
This was it had to be it was around my birthday. So probably around last September. It was last year.
Okay, it's 9 months ago.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Number one, did she know that you were buying her a house or did you just surprise her?
Yes, because it was a hassle. Because in the Dallas area, the market's going crazy right now. And I wanted her to like the house. I wanted her to pick it out. Because my mom's real picky. She likes a certain type of kitchen. And so, she knew it was coming. She knew it was coming.
Okay, before you bought her that house, where was she living?
She was living the house that I was staying in with her.
Oh.
Around in Dallas, around the corner. But this house is way better though. Like, she was renting that house.
That's what I'm saying. So she went from, had she ever owned a house herself?
Yeah. Her and my dad were married for 23 years. Well, 23 years, yeah.
I got it. So they owned a house together. When they got divorced, she had to go rent a house.
Right.
So because of you, she now owns a house again.
Right. Yes, definitely. And she's a couponer. That's all she does is coupon now. And that's a crazy business too. You laugh? Hey, that's a crazy business.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. I just never heard of that before. This is new to me.
No, when you get off of this interview, like when this interview's over, go look on YouTube. Couponing is $1 million industry. I'm telling you.
Okay.
And she hasn't worked. She haven't had a job in like 5 years. Like couponing, she gets it done.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Everyone got their own hustle.
Fact.
And your mom is now living in a house that you bought her.
Yeah, I bought her the crib. You know, that shit was amazing to me. Like, I mean, it was kind of hard. You know, I'm still young, so the credit thing was kind of new, and you know, you gotta have, you know, all that type of weird shit, but we got it done.
And then you actually bought your sister a new car.
Yeah, for Christmas. This was 2018, y'all brought her a Charger for Christmas. She was having car problems, and I had got her a Charger.
So you're taking care of your whole family right now.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I'm taking care of my family. It's just, I don't forget about, you know, my mom, she took me under when my dad could have kicked me out, you know, through the whole thing. She believed in Say Cheese. So, and then my sister, that's my sister, you know, like I lived with her damn near my whole life. And then, you know, I don't overdo it, but I do look out for the people who, I just got to make sure, you know, I see people go broke, you know, trying to make sure everybody's good. I still got to take care of home too, you know? So.
Right. But you don't have any kids now?
No, not that I know of, no.
Not that you know of. So,
not that I know of.
You know, you're able to not have that major expense and so forth. Okay. So basically, like, what are like the top sellers for a store like this?
Rap tees.
So like concert t-shirts and stuff like
tour
that?
Tees, yeah, tour tees. Like a Erykah Badu shirt right now could run you like 1,500. A Mike Tyson, the original printed, not the reprints that you can get, but the original print, the Sade's, the Selenas can run you a band. The real vintage, original printed tees, they can run you. And then we got mid shit too, like sports and all that, you know, real vintage shit though. And it's a market for it.
No, I mean, obviously, but how do you really? How can you know that this is an original tee versus just something that got made maybe 5 years later and is just old as well?
Man, you could tell. I got people on my team. Shout out to Shane and Barry. You can tell. Like, if you really into that, you can tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also have a weed business.
Yeah, I got the weed business too. 40 acres. Shout out to Prit Paul. Me and him partnered up. Got 40 acres and we rolling. We bought it too. We bought the land. It's in Oklahoma.
Okay, so you have 40 acres. That outside or inside?
We're doing outdoor and indoor, and we're about to start. We have the indoor going right now with about almost 6,000 plants growing, and then we're working on outdoor.
Okay, so Oklahoma, they have legal marijuana.
Yes.
Right? And
medical, not recreational.
Oh, it's only medical.
It's only medical right now.
Aha. Okay, so that's, well, but then again, I know how this medical shit is. You just go to one of these doctors that just say, oh, you have a headache. All right, there's a prescription. So it technically doesn't. I remember California was medical for a long time. It did not.
It's about to get recreational though, so it's going to be booming. But Oklahoma is growing. It's growing so fast, they're not really letting anybody open dispensaries anymore. They're everywhere. So.
Okay, so you actually bought the land?
We bought the land. We got 40 acres for, I don't want to lie to you on here. It was 300 grand, and we put down half. Yeah, we put down like half, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so 300,000 for 40 acres.
Yeah, and it wasn't listed too. And it wasn't listed. Prit Paul, which is my partner, his dad was driving and seen it. It was like, it's near a casino, but I don't want to say which city it's in, but it wasn't listed, and we really got a great deal on it.
Congrats.
Appreciate
it. So you got, well, the real estate is kind of winding down. You got the weed business. You got the vintage shop.
Yeah.
It appears to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Say Cheese interviews don't have the same priority that they used to.
Man, I'll have a good month, and then sometimes, like now, where it's just like all this stuff is coming up. I got to worry about the tractors getting delivered to the farm and the outdoor grow, and then I got the thrift store grand opening, and then all these artists that I'm trying to do deals with and things like that. Yeah, sometimes the interviews they'll fall back a little bit. They will.
You got to focus on what you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
I've always felt like, for me, the investments, I try to find passive investments that doesn't take up a lot of my time, like stocks or investing in a startup or whatever else, because VladTV has always been the most successful thing I've ever done. So I'm always worried about messing up the flow, and the output, because we do 7 clips a day plus 2 flashbacks and a full interview. So sometimes we're doing 10 clips a day. And I felt like if I get involved in too many other businesses, I can't maintain that. So, for me, I try to keep that going. But look, if this weed thing is really what it's cracked up to be, that could basically eclipse what you're doing. And when you look at most of the hip hop billionaires, they usually didn't make it in hip hop. Like the actual big money wasn't made from rapping or producing or owning a label or anything else like that. Jay-Z made most of his money through liquor.
Yeah.
So did Diddy. Right?
Yep.
Dre made most of his money through, beats. And the software that ultimately became Apple Music, right? Which he sold to Apple for $1 billion. You see this over and over again, where people use the hip hop. Like Nas made most of his money through startup investments.
Yep.
And I remember I talked to someone close to that situation, and it was like nobody was thinking about investing in startups as a celebrity. It was like Nas and Ashton Kutcher, and that's it. Now everyone's doing it, but back then, 10 years ago, when he launched Queensbridge Ventures, he'd be going to these meetings and he'd be like the only celebrity in the room. And everyone wanted to I was like, oh my God, it's Nas. So everyone opened their doors and wanted to work with him and wanted to take a picture with him and whatever else. And he used that celebrity hip hop aspect to basically parlay and be an early investor in Coinbase.
Right.
To be an early investor in Ring. To be an early investor in a bunch of different companies that a lot of them have done really well, like Pluto TV and so forth. So yeah, man, if this is what you're doing, I wish you all the best for it, because people have laid that blueprint down before.
I just, it's just one of them things to where as though I know I don't own Instagram. Say Cheese is popping on Instagram. I don't own YouTube. That goes away, then what? That's how I always look at things. When Say Cheese does fizzle out one day, or if it does, I don't know. I can't tell the future. I don't want to be, how 42 Doug mentioned, what's his name in the song, called him broke? We Paid.
Young Jock.
I don't want to be mentioned in a song when people clowning me for being broke. My biggest fear is falling off. And Kanye always said every 10 years you should not move on or switch careers, but grow. And that's just my thing. I just want to grow. I just want to try things out. I'm innovative and I'm a risk taker. And I don't even smoke and I'm in this weed shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
And if it works, it works. If it don't, I try my best.
Yeah, I know what you mean about not owning YouTube or not owning Instagram. I guess you had, 3 of your Say Cheese Instagram accounts shut down?
2.
Over the years?
2. Yeah, 2.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. And I feel you. I'm always very careful on my Instagram by not posting third-party content and so forth. And yeah, YouTube does consist of a lot of our, a lot of our views and so forth. But the way I've always looked at it is, I mean, these days we upload our videos to YouTube. We also upload it to Facebook video. We also upload it to IGTV. And, we also have the membership part of, YouTube. So like, for example, for $5, if you don't want to wait for all 50 days to watch the full Boosie interview, because it was 50 parts this last time. So you got to wait 50 whole days.
Is that the longest interview ever?
It's up there. Yeah, I think it's up there. I think it's up there. So if you want to spend $5 and get that full interview on the first day instead of waiting 50 days, literally thousands of people have signed up and more sign up every day. And I just feel like being in a content game, the platforms may change, but the content is always going to be the content. As long as you come out with dope content, there's going to be new streaming networks that come out. There's going to be new platforms that come out. I mean, TikTok will eventually monetize. Snapchat will probably monetize at some point. We are expanding our content, to have conversations with the Netflixes and the Hulus of the world. And, that's why we're so focused on the content, even though we know that, at some point, YouTube might just shut us down. Who knows? You don't know. You hope it doesn't happen. And, we've had copyright strikes and so forth over the years, but you don't. You don't. But I kind of feel like content is king, and you could always find a place to put it as long as it's great content.
Yeah, then you got the NFT shit that's booming right now. Like, people selling the shit for millions.
And that's what I mean. Like, as long as the content is great, there will always be some new platform that pops up at some point that will allow you to put your content on there and make money off it, as long as it's great content. If it's mediocre, it is what it is. Last time we had our conversation, Zach TV, aka Zach Stoner is his real name.
Yep.
He had just gotten killed.
Right. And
that really sent shockwaves to people like you and I.
Yep.
Because we do kind of the same thing that Zach was doing. In a way. And I remember there was an article that came out after our interview where you talked about the effect that Zach's murder had on you, which, by the way, is still unsolved 3 years later.
Unsolved, yep.
Still unsolved 3 years later. There's an actual video of him getting killed downtown on that freeway, right? There's an actual video of it. And it's still unsolved three years later, as high profile as he was, which is really just very, very sad.
Right.
But in the article, it talked about how you really just changed up your whole like way of moving after that. You talked about, because remember you had that pink Corvette.
Yeah.
They used to drive around, and you got rid of it after his murder.
Yeah, I got rid of that shit, man. I got rid of it. And then I stopped doing outside interviews too. You don't catch me really doing vlogs too. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I look back, I'm like, New Orleans, Chicago, Brick City, Steve Drive, like really in Chicago, like really in Baltimore, really in St. Louis, like the worst cities. I'm thinking to myself, like, what was I doing? But I've been in so many shootouts growing up, Vlad. Like I almost died in the shootout 2018, Christmas Eve. So things like that.
Wait. Let's talk about that for a second, because this was not you as a kid. This is 2018.
This is 2000. No.
We did our interview.
No. 2008. 2008. 2008.
Okay, so
my bad.
2008. Okay, that's a whole different story.
I was 18.
Aha.
Yeah.
So you were caught in a shootout.
Yeah, and that wasn't my first time I was in a shootout, but that was the shootout to where as though it was like, I can't really hang around the people that I was hanging around anymore. That was Christmas Eve. So picture your mom and whoever baking cookies. You got the stockings hung up on the fireplace, and y'all watching fucking The Grinch, and then you get a phone call. It was just a selfish act, on that Christmas Eve night. But I've been in countless shootouts that made me brave enough to do those interviews where I would do them. Those shootouts like that, I've been in a handful.
Yeah, I mean, I look back about my early career, like before VladTV started, I used to have a DVD called Hot in Here DVD, where once again, I would be on the street with cameras. I'd be in these studios. There'd be guns pointed in the camera. God knows if they're loaded or not, And I remember when I interviewed Lil Easy, Eazy-E's son.
Yeah.
and we talked about this. This was before VladTV. We had set up an interview with him in front of his grandparents' house in Compton, right? Where Eazy-E grew up.
Right.
And I so clearly remember this. We go outside, right? We get ready to go, and we're doing it outside on the corner in front of the house. And right before the interview starts, someone hands Lil Eazy a pistol. He tucks it into his waistband. And this is all off camera. This is not him trying to show off for the cameras. No, like this is like real life. Before the cameras turn on, he tucks the gun into his waistband, and we start to do the interview, and every few seconds he's looking around, right? Like his head is on a swivel the entire interview. And I'm holding the camera going, where the hell am I right now? I don't have a gun. Like, what's about to fucking happen? I've never been in Compton before. Like, clearly we're in a dangerous situation right now, and I'm holding this camera like a sitting duck. And after that, I said, all right, no more outside interviews, man. You got to come to my studio, or we have to do it remotely. You know, if I feel that the people I'm interviewing for, I'm not completely comfortable with, I will have armed security in that room. You know, we will limit the people that go in and out. And ultimately, safety is the most important part, because Zach TV getting killed was awful, man. It was absolutely awful.
Yeah, he did a lot for, you know, Chicago's community too. Like city council meetings and just a lot of things. Like he really, the scene haven't really been the same, you know, with the Chicago thing, like, because he brought life to that Chicago underground market for sure.
Well, you know, I read that article, and there were some interesting things in that article, because me and Zach talked like maybe once or twice. We weren't close like that at all. You know, I admired his work, he admired mine, and we got on the phone I think once or twice, and it was really just that. But you know, he talked about his own situation. He talked about how when he conduct interviews, he'd have a camera in one hand and a gun within reach in the other hand. You know what I mean? And he said, I've been taking this chance with my life. And he would pull out a gun, you know, like on camera, and be like, yo, you got to be prepared. So he already knew.
Yeah, Zach stayed,
you know,
Zach stayed strapped. He stayed strapped. You know, me and him spoke a lot, and yeah, he mentioned that a lot, that, you know, he was always prepared. You know, he knew what he was getting into, but he was such a loving guy, and he didn't really stir up mess like that. Like, you know, that shit hurt me for a long time.
Yeah, well, you said in the article, you said there's two things you won't leave home without: your bulletproof vest and 9mm pistol.
Yeah, I used to wear vests. Like maybe 6 months after his death, I would wear a vest. But then after that, I just slowly just like, that's when I stopped doing the outside interviews, and then I didn't need a vest no more, because I'm not accessible like that. You will rarely find me anywhere. So
yeah, I mean, I feel you, man. I mean, to think that we have to wear a bulletproof vest to do our job, to go to work.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. People see the success, but they don't realize what goes behind the success, because, you know, just like you, I interview people who don't get along with each other.
Yeah.
I interview gang members. You know, people say things in my interview that I'm not even aware of, maybe insulting to someone else or so forth. You know, you talked about in this article how you were getting a lot of death threats on your DMs, and one of the threats actually said, we're going to do you like we did Zach.
Oh yeah, I get the Zach thing all the time.
Really?
I get the Zach death threats all the time. Like,
I've never gotten that.
I think it's a black thing. And no disrespect.
Oh.
No disrespect. I just think it's a,
no, it's
you
all
know,
good.
us as black men, we're more comfortable threatening. I know you get death threats, but just the Zach comparison with me and him are kind of, you know, it's kind of the same. I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
No, you are. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I never, like I said, no one's ever told me that. Have people told me you're going to die when you get to New York, and yo, I'm going to kill you, I got 30K on your head, or I'm going to kill your mother or something? Yeah, I've gotten that.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that throughout the year. But I've never had the Zach, we're going to do you like we did Zach.
I get it should have been you, not Zach. We're going to do you like Zach. I get a lot of I get a lot of Zach comparisons and depth. Yeah, I do. Like it could be anything. It could be I may post an article about I don't know. And it's just I just hate that Zach is the poster child of bloggers getting killed. Like he wasn't even that type of person. He was a really loving guy. Like, and for people to say that shit hurts.
Well, when you talk about Dallas, the death of Mo3.
Oh man, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah. I interviewed him. And once again, we had the conversation about him moving out of Dallas or using more security. And he said he doesn't think that's necessary. He has his guys with him. And he literally in the interview said, I don't think anyone's chasing me down in Dallas, which literally is what happened at the very end. Do you have actual security with you when you walk around?
No, I just got good friends, man. We are good friends, and you know, I got my homeboys with me. You know, security sometimes is with me with the shows and stuff. You know, when the promoter book me, you know, they got their own security. You know, that accommodate me and shit. Shout out to them. You know, but other than that, like I ain't worried about none of that, Vlad. So you know, I ain't got no security. I'm not out here. Nobody chasing me down, trying to do nothing to me. So I ain't worried about none of that.
You know, I only had one interview with him, but me and Boosie are close, and the two of them were working together a lot. Had you interviewed Mo3?
Yeah, we did like 3 interviews together. And it's crazy because I talked to him a month before he died. He got new teeth in his mouth. He got veneers in Colombia. And it's my friend in Dallas named Dr. Rose, really popular guy. He does everybody's veneers, everybody. And I asked Mo3, I called him, I was like, yo, why you go to Colombia? You could have got them done right here in Dallas. And that conversation was like a conversation I never had with Mo3. He did say he was moving out though. He was like, he just signed the Empire with Ghazi. And he told me he was about to move to the hills. He told me that. And for the first time, because me and Mo3 spoke a lot, but for the first time, it was like he was really hesitant. Mo3's the type of guy, like you said, in your interview, he's not worried about nothing. He going wherever. It don't matter. He not second guessing it. But in this conversation, it was a Mo3 I've never spoke to before. And a month later, he passed.
Yeah, that was really a sad one, man. That was really, really sad.
Yeah, it hurt the scene a lot.
Yeah, and he was so dope, man. Like I remember talking to Boosie, I was telling him how like Mop With It was like my favorite song. I've played that like 1,000 times ever since I heard it. Like dude he was so talented singing wise.
Man, it was like gospel.
You know what I mean?
It's like gospel, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of harmonizing and everything. Everybody Ain't Your Friend was like such a dope song. And he was really like, I felt like he was getting ready to just be out of there.
Yeah.
You know, he was right there, like, you know, because there were more, you know, popular rappers in Dallas. I felt like he was sort of one notch down, but he was getting ready to be right up there with everyone else.
Yeah, you know, the city of Dallas was really mad at me when he died, though. Like, furious. Like,
why?
Because, you know, it was a time where I came up with all the rappers at the same time. You know, we don't got to say names, but I came up with everybody where Mo3 didn't have nothing. He ain't have nothing. He trying to make it like, and I was the interviewer. I interviewed all of them. We came up together, put some records together, traveled together. And, you know, a lot of people felt as though I let it on. It was times, but literal people know I got on the phone with multiple guys like, yo, is there a way we can sit down? Could we do this? Could we do that? One day, this guy wouldn't want to squash it. The next day, or he'll be willing to squash it, but he won't. Then the next day, they were never on the same page. And I tried for months to hash it out and to get them to squash it. But it just didn't happen. It was too late.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've interviewed Yella Beezy. I've interviewed Trap Boy Freddy.
Yeah.
You know, the beef, not to say that Mo3's death had anything to do with any of that. I don't want this to be misconstrued at all, because apparently they caught the 2 guys that were responsible for Mo3's death. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have anything to do with that beef or whatever, but that beef was ugly. Because Mo3's man got killed. I forgot what his name was. He was like a comedian.
Roy Lee.
Roy Lee, right?
Yeah.
Yella Beezy gets shot up in his car.
Yeah.
Not to say had anything to do with the other situation. I'm just talking about just the level of chaos that was happening in your city. And I interviewed Beezy like right after the shooting. He still had his arm in like this bionic cast, and he was still trying to get out there and still do his thing. But the level of violence back and forth was insane. And I was once again in my interview saying like, what's it gonna take to squash it? Like, I fuck with both of y'all now. I interview both of y'all are sitting in the same chair. What's it gonna take? And neither one of them really wanted to, they weren't dissing each other, but neither one of them really wanted to get on camera and basically be, hey, know something, Vlad? After this interview, send him my number and we're going to get on the phone and we're going to hash it out and maybe we'll all sit down together and do some, on VladTV and whatever. It was never like that. It was for whatever reason, people didn't like each other. And, a lot of people lost their lives or got hurt very, very badly over this shit. I mean, why do you think that Dallas, not being a major hip hop hub and only having so few people rise above the local rapper, area to actually get fans, why aren't more people working together as opposed to beefing like that?
In Dallas?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like, I don't know, man. This is one of them things to where as though everybody kind of wants to be first. I don't know. I wish I knew, because I'm here a lot, like, and I feel like I could contribute to it, but I don't know, shit.
Well, right after the Mo3 murder, something that hit even more close to home to me was Boosie getting shot.
Yep, in Dallas.
Going to Mo3's like wake.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of hanging out, I think, in Oak Cliff afterwards. And then he gets shot in the leg, which he's still dealing with to this day. When you heard about the Boosie shooting, what did you think?
Man, it was so close because Mo3 got shot, Dr. Rose got shot, then Boosie got shot. I'm not knowing what to think. Like, I was on the plane using my Wi-Fi. Everybody was texting me. I thought it was cap. Then it turned out to be true. I didn't know what to think. I just went to my place in Miami and just chilled out for a little bit. So, but yeah, that week was a really crazy week. Like 20 people got shot that weekend, I think. Shit was crazy.
Right, because from what I understand, in that mall where Boosie got shot, this girl's beauty supply store gets set on fire.
Yeah, at Big T Bazaar. That following Monday, some woman's shit got destroyed or some shit like that. I don't know. It happened for sure, but I don't know whose it was.
Yeah, I mean, I had heard that she's connected to one of the rappers that we mentioned, but since I'm not 100% sure, I'm not gonna mention it.
Yeah, I seen that too. But
of that sort. And, I mean, her place basically got firebombed.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I didn't know how. If it was, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not putting any names out.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, 20 people got shot. Businesses are getting set on fire. People like Boosie, who is loved in Dallas, gets shot to the point where he hasn't gone back to Dallas afterwards.
Yeah, I seen that. Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that in our interview. Not to say that Boosie is scared or whatever, but listen, if you get shot in this one area, you're going to be very apprehensive to go back to that same area again. Yeah. But it's interesting because I was talking to Kid from Kid and Play, who's one of my regular guests, and I mentioned Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he starts to sing the song, Oak Cliff, that's my hood. You know what I'm talking about?
I seen that.
And maybe a month or two afterwards, they actually come out with the Oak Cliff remix.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know, with Beezy and what's the name of the dude who did the original?
Oh man, you gonna catch me on camera, man. The original came out like 10 years ago, I think.
Young Nino.
Young Nino. Yeah, Young Nino.
Young Nino. Yeah. We brought that, you know, we helped bring that song back.
Yeah. You know, Oak Cliff is the biggest hood in Dallas.
Okay. I've never been. I've never been to Dallas. Let me just put that out there.
It's one of the most notorious hoods. You got Pleasant Grove, North Dallas, and then you have West Dallas, Highland Hills. Yeah, it's a lot of hoods in Dallas, but Oak Cliff is definitely the biggest for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I hope everyone gets their shit together because everyone's making too much money out there. Like Dallas has not historically been on the hip hop map like that. You know, I remember when Big Tuck and them were popping, they never got to this level that like a Yella Beezy has gotten to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing against the skill level or whatever else, but sometimes you just don't have the push and, you know, the internet wasn't, you know, social media wasn't doing its thing back then and whatever else where it allowed you to get your music out there. But like these guys are doing well. Like they're actually making real money. So it's like, yo, like where is the anger coming from at this point when y'all ain't really struggling like that anymore? You know, that's supposed to make some of that anger and bitterness go away. You know,
I agree.
Sad.
I agree. It's a lot of potential, a lot of money being made, and it's just, you know, ego and pride just gets in the way. Ego and pride.
Yeah, I feel you. You've helped break a lot of artists, I feel, on your platform.
Yes.
I think Drake at OVO Fest mentioned how he saw the baby the first time on Say Cheese.
Yes, he did. He did say that.
That was dope.
That was hard. That shit made my day. Like,
yeah,
that shit made my day.
I bet. Who are, you know, and you've always been, you know, this is where you and I differ a little bit because you allow a lot of up and coming artists to actually advertise their videos on your Instagram channel.
Yeah, I do.
I don't do that because, well, number one, it's not really our business. You know, that's not our business model, number one. And number two, I'm always concerned about the copyright issues of putting third-party content on our Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know why you got shut down the first two times, but it probably has something to do with copyright. So I've always been extra paranoid about that. But, you know, I respect people like yourself that do help push, you know, artists and help get artists exposed. Who are some of the artists do you think you helped break over the years?
YK Osiris. He's not gonna say it, but he got his first big break on Say Cheese. Quando Rondo, Beating on the Car. It's a lot. Rod Wave, I got him his deal. He doesn't like to admit it, but I got Rod Wave his deal.
When you say you got him his deal, were you involved in his deal, or was just having him up on your
No,
your IG?
I went to Alamo and I mentioned his name and the A&R wrote it down, and I think the next day or the next week they flew him out, and he got his deal. He DM'd me. This was around Christmas break 2018. Yeah, he DM'd me and said thank you, and I didn't know why. And then I was upset with Zeke from Alamo because I'm like, damn, I told you who this guy was, and can I get a finder's fee? Can I get at least a call like thank you? But then Zeke did call me back though from Alamo. He was like, yo, we're gonna need your help with Rod Wave. And at that time, I'm like, nigga, fuck you. Like you tried to undercut me. I let my ego get in the way. Now Rod Wave is one of the biggest in the game. I could have been involved in that. Even after he tried to, you know what I mean? But yeah, I got Rod Wave his deal. For sure. He don't like to admit it. We had words, but it's all good.
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to these quote unquote deals, if there's no paperwork, you cannot really get mad that you did not get the homie hookup, which is basically what you're talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? I understand. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I understand what you're saying, but you can't expect people to do the right thing when lots of money's involved when there's no paperwork.
I agree. That's real. But I don't even want no fucking money. I'm independent. Like I'm an independent company. It's hard for me. I'm black. I'm young. At least say, when you go to these interviews, just mention Say Cheese was a part of your story. I could use that on my resume when I go in these offices and trying to fight for other artists. That's all. I don't want none of your money, Rod Wave. You know, we had a long argument on, he had DM me going off on me, and we had a talk like last year, but it's all good though. Like, it's no bad blood. I can't listen to none of his music. I'm keeping it real. I can't listen to none of his music.
I feel you.
But I'm happy for him. I don't wish nothing bad on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. No, listen, I feel you. I feel you. You know, do the Migos mention that I gave them their first ever interview? No. Do they even come back on our platform? No. But that's just the reality of life.
Yeah.
That, you know, ultimately, when I look at my business, although I appreciate every person who sits down with me and does an interview with me, I realize that my business is not the people who sit down with me, but my viewers, because those people will come and go. They will utilize the platform when they're coming up, and when they get to a certain point, either they don't want to do it anymore, or their manager or publicist gets in their ear and say, VladTV is too dangerous of a platform for you to stand on because he's going to ask the hard questions. You know, we're not going to be able to control it the way we do these radio stations. And that's okay, because we've built a very significant business with a bunch of people that, like, no one's ever even heard of. Like, you know, I was going through my full interviews today, and I looked at my biggest full interviews. It's people no one's ever heard of. Larry Mazza, who was a mafia guy. Like, you know, Johnny Curry, a DC, you know, this DC kingpin. Like, you know, people like that. You know, Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator. Like, a lot of people that no one's even really, they're not these big A-level giant artists or big A-level celebrities. They're people with these incredible stories that we're able to actually capture and present in a certain type of way. So when we don't get the love or the whatever, you know, from these artists, it is what it is. You know, Polo G, when we did our first interview, he said that when he was in jail, he wrote down what his goals were in his career is to do a VladTV interview. You know, and we talked about that in that first interview. He blew up. I can't get Polo G anymore. You know, we ran into each other at the bank. You know, he actually even said some sideways shit about me on Twitter. So when we ran each other at the bank, I'm like, yo, let's just go outside and talk. Like, yo, like, we fuck with you. Like, what's that about? And he's like, oh, well, I just don't like the way some of the questions you asked with some of these artists. And I'm like, okay, so you got to go and tweet about it? Like, you can't, like, here I am, I'm helping you out earlier in your career, and you can't just DM me that you have an issue, and we could just talk it out, and we could actually build on some shit, because you're doing well, and I'm still doing well, but I just know the game. I know how it is. I know that after that interview, that person doesn't owe me anything.
Yeah.
And vice versa on that matter, you know?
SpotemGottem is one too. I signed him when he had 3,000 followers. He just
okay, and I was gonna ask about that next. So you signed, so you actually signed SpotemGottem.
Yeah, I signed him when he had 3,000 followers. 2,800 to be exact.
Right. I remember when SpotemGottem, when Beatbox became popular, the memes, just based on how he looks, went crazy. Someone says SpotemGottem looks like he's 264 months old. SpotemGottem looks like he likes to bite people. like the jokes were absolutely nonstop. What is it that you saw in SpotemGottem early on? You
said why?
What was it that you saw about him to want to sign him early on like that?
His look.
Okay, so there you go.
He had the charisma. He can dress. He was doing in Florida, in Houston, how they do chopped and screwed and they slow it down. In Florida, they speed it up. So he was doing sped up freestyles. And it was something that I've never really seen on the internet. Like when you go to Miami or you go to Broward County, you'll hear the sped up music, but you never really seen it being used on Instagram freestyles. So I knew once it hit Say Cheese, out of here. And he released Beatbox, is double platinum now.
Okay, so is he still signed to you?
Yes.
Aha.
Yeah, he's partnered with me, Say La Vie, And then we did a partnership with Interscope.
Aha. So is that the first artist that you actually signed that got to a major label and everything and blew up?
Cash Page,
Okay.
R&B singer. She's with Def Jam. She had love songs. That's platinum. A few others too.
Okay. Was SpotemGottem the most successful though?
He had the biggest record, yeah.
Okay. How did that feel to finally use your platform, get an artist, have the artist blow up, and have the paperwork right, at the end of the day?
It feels good. But I'm not satisfied till I get a Drake. I want a generational talent, but it felt good though. Nonetheless, it felt good. It felt good to see somebody grow so early, and then now the world know about him. Because people didn't believe in SpotemGottem. They laughed at him for a long time. Well, they laughed at me for signing him.
Right, because, and this just goes to sort of the fickle nature of entertainment. Although Beatbox is a very cool song, like I fuck with the song, it was really the challenge, the dance that got that song big, right?
Yeah.
It was the Junebug challenge.
The Junebug challenge helped out a lot. It definitely did. But it was like the song was going crazy in the streets first. And then it took off. Like it did like 8 to 10 million. It did like 8 to 10 million before it became a trend to do the Junebug challenge. And then yes, the Junebug dude took it to a whole nother level. I'm not gonna do him like that.
Well, right, because you can't deny when people like Future, Sweetie, LeBron James, Kevin Hart, G Herbo, they are on their Instagram pages with the hundreds of millions of followers that they have, and they're playing that song and doing that dance.
Right.
You can't say that did not play a major, gigantic role in that.
It did, but the streets was fucking with it first though. Like I don't want it to be like it was just like, well, it was a TikTok song, but it really carried over. I mean, it just depends on how you found it. It just really depends on when you found the song, but it was going crazy in the streets for a long time.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Appreciate it.
I mean, speaking of Jacksonville, which is where SpotemGottem's from, I recently interviewed Foolio, and I have a new interview with Young and Ace that's actually starting today. Have you interviewed both these guys?
Yes.
Okay. And I really tried my best. Like if you watch, the Young and Ace interview is not out yet, but I pretty much do the same thing in that interview as what I did in the Foolio interview. Is like, how can y'all fix this right here? Because what's happening right now in Jacksonville between y'all two crews is such a train wreck on every level. Young and Ace, his own brother gets killed and like 3 of his friends. Foolio's brother got killed and like one of his best friends gets killed. And as this is happening, people are wearing Rest in Piss t-shirts and going to each other's neighborhoods and filming diss videos. And then, Who I Smoke comes out, and that's like the biggest song for Young and Ace. And it's all about basically dead people. And when you look at that whole situation, being so, that you're so close to the Jacksonville rap scene, what is your take on?
Shit, I challenged Foolio to stop making diss songs. I challenged Foolio, I said, I don't think you can make a hit without dissing Young and Ace, just to try to bring a different side out of them. You know what I'm saying? A different energy. And I feel like it's crazy. The Chicago has rubbed off on literally the world, and that's what he admitted to. Foolio was like, shit, I took the Chicago rap scene dissing and brought it to Jacksonville. But once people die, it's kind of too late. Like, like I just told you before, I tried it with Mo3 and these guys. Once somebody gets shot, and then you have people on the internet, you have your fans, you got to live up to this character. You can't, you squash something on the internet, what they gonna call you? Scary, oh, you pussy, and this, and that. So you have to live up to that character, and that's why I feel like a lot of people get killed.
Yeah, I mean, just recently in LA, this young rapper kid, 20 years old, Indian Red Boy. I mean, I don't know if you saw this. He literally gets killed on Instagram Live, shot like 16 times in the face. And they say it's, the rumors was because he was disrespecting Nipsey's, mural. He was spray painting over the mural and talking shit. Another rumor is that it was over a girl, but I remember one of his homies got on Instagram and was like, y'all cut out this whole smoking pack shit that y'all doing right now. That's not LA shit. Like, we don't do that in LA. Like, we never have. And he was absolutely right, because I've lived in LA forever and been on the West Coast, not born, but I was raised on the West Coast. No one was talking about smoking ops and smoking a so-and-so pack and whatever else. That is some Chicago shit. But now everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. And, Fulio said he came up doing it.
Yeah.
And it is some really sad shit.
I'm jealous, y'all. I'm kind of jealous you and Adam got a Young and Ace interview and I didn't. But see, but that there it goes, because I hate to keep saying that, but it's because I'm black and I'm cool with Fulio. If I was a white guy, I would have got a Young and Ace, because I just interviewed Fulio too. You just interviewed Fulio. Why you and Adam get an interview, but I can't? Because it's in black culture, it's like, it's no tolerance. It's playing both sides. It's, Shawn playing both sides. You on his side. But with y'all can get away with that. And I'm not coming for you, Vlad. I fuck with you. I'm just saying that, like, damn, like, I can't get a Young and Ace interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are y'all boxing me in on Fulio's side? That's how it is, though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
I think, at the end of the day, you also don't get called a culture vulture every day the way I do. You know what I mean? There's that. There's that. I'm not going to cry about it. It is what it is. I mean, we talked about last time when you get called the police as well, but I think I get it the worst. I think I get the police tag worse than anybody.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Anybody. And it's interesting because with me, not only do I get called the police, but if anyone that I interview gets arrested, I start to trend like it's somehow my fault. Like somehow my interview is the reason why they got locked up.
No, it's definitely pros and cons of this interview shit. Like,
yeah,
you do get that way more than me. Like, you're a white guy in hip hop, they think you're the feds, but I get the part to where as though I can't interview both sides. You can. I can't interview both sides. Like, I'm trying to think of two people who are beefing. It's just, I don't know what it is, but me being a black guy in the culture and me being young and around these guys' age, I gotta pick a side. But, and that's the cons about doing interviews on my part. So I don't know. I just thought about that when you said you had an interview coming, and I'm not mad about it. I'm just letting you know the shit I go through.
Well, let me tell you, when Casanova got locked up, right, got charged.
I know.
Remember that? Remember this whole situation? I was trending for 2 fucking days. Vlad, my first name was trending for 2 days because there was a fake article from a news site that no one had ever heard of that claimed that that somehow his interview, our interview is in his paperwork, right? Which number one is not true at all. It's not in his paperwork, right? But it got to the point where people like Questlove was like, oh, see, I told y'all not to do VladTV interviews. Mark Lamont Hill, oh, stop fucking with Vlad. Like literally all these people who I thought I was even cool with, Mark Lamont Hill's been on my platform. Me and Questlove used to run into each other and talk. Like they're all trying to ruin my business over a fake story. A few months later, we obtained the actual audio from Casanova's bail hearing where the feds say that they actually used Nick Cannon's interview to deny Casanova bail. They named Nick Cannon by name 2 times in the audio, which we publicly released. But does anyone come back and say, oh, we're sorry, Vlad, our mistake? Oh, Nick Cannon's the feds. Oh no, it's not Nick's fault. Casanova shouldn't have been talking about that. Nick is cool. And I'm like, yeah, you see, here goes that double standard. Once again, here we go. Because if my name would have shown up in that fucking audio, if VladTV got named in that audio, oh my God, it would have been World War III. But, at the end of the day, who the fuck cares? We're all making money. None of us are really the feds. None of us are out there causing problems. We're doing our job. This is a new form of media. At this point, anyone could start their own media outlet. And people aren't ready for the type of shit that we do. So they're going to criticize and so forth, because historically, hip-hop media has been pussy. That's how I look at it. All these radio dudes were always scared to ask the tough questions. They just wanted to, it's just a promo run. They just want to talk about the new album and that's it. People like you and I came in and said, fuck it, we're going to ask the tougher questions. And we're going to push the envelope. And people weren't ready for that. The old school rappers definitely weren't ready for that. That's why I get bashed by a lot of the old school dudes, but that's fine. It's cool. We've created an incredible business. I have 15 employees. Like, I support 15 different people. Like, to me, that's my accomplishment. I don't care what, the internet or some white kid in Missouri says about me. Like, it is what it is. It's whatever. You mentioned Quando Rondo. How did you, when you heard about the King Von shooting that happened and Quando's involvement in it, along with his man Lil Tim and so forth, how did you feel? She was
crazy. It was unexpected. Like, it was just like the most random shit. Like, I don't know. That shit was super fucking random. Like, in Atlanta, it's like, King Von was in Chicago his whole life and then dies in Atlanta. Like, the shit was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally in the process of trying to schedule an interview with him.
Okay, you never interviewed him before?
No, we never interviewed him before. No.
Yeah.
No, we never interviewed him before. And but we were trying to, because that whole camp, we had just interviewed Hot Boy, we interviewed 30 Deep Grimy, that was all part of that same label, that same management company. So basically King Von was up next. And that shit, when you saw it and you saw it play out on video, and then you start to look at the reasons behind it, and you're like, this ain't about nothing.
Shit about nothing.
This ain't about nothing.
Shit wasn't about
nothing. The rumor
was
there was a rumor about a girl. There was a rumor about some internet tough talk either way. But I'm like, nothing actually happened to lead up to this.
Nothing. That's why I was so shocked. Like, I didn't even know they had beef for real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know it was differences for real. Like, they had it was like a clip with them together laughing and joking around. And
sad.
Yeah, he was on his way. King Von was definitely on his way. And it's crazy in hip hop to where as though like damn, like for the first time in like hip hop history, the guy who lived, his career is like going downhill kinda. You know what I'm saying? Like, if King Von would have killed Quando Rondo, people would have championed King Von. But it's the other way. Sometimes it's not about who's right, it's about who's liked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I mean, Von was the bigger artist. So Quando is being viewed as a villain, unfortunately. But if you really think about the situation, Von was the aggressor. Did he deserve to get killed? Absolutely not.
No.
But you have to take a step back, and I remember me and Track talked about the similarity to the Tupac situation about someone that goes and attacks someone, and then there's terrible repercussions afterwards. But ultimately, you still have to put a good portion of the blame of the aggressor in it. If Pac didn't go and punch Orlando, that would have set off that chain of events of Pac getting killed. If King Von didn't run up on Quando, if he just talked some shit, or if he just stayed in his car, literally nothing would have happened. There was no danger. I don't think there was any danger to King Von that night from Quando's camp.
It's Yeah, it sucks. People can't even, get their one-on-ones anymore and just go about their day. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, the one-on-ones, yeah. I mean, not when there's cameras running everywhere and
yeah,
people
nobody wants to
worried
take
about
that
their
L.
reputation and so forth.
Nobody wants to take that L. You're right.
Yeah, Tay-K, who you covered a lot. I think he actually got convicted since our last interview, right?
Yeah. What, 55 years?
55 years.
55 years. I went to one of the trial dates.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and they, like, everybody were kind of like mean mugging me and shit. So I went by myself. So I just left. I felt like, the family didn't want me there. I felt like his close friends, they didn't want me there. Cause I was like one of the first to like really, cause he's from Arlington. I grew up in Arlington. So I knew the ins and outs before. And then, I had went and I just left.
Yeah, I mean, 55 years. That's that's a stretch.
And didn't pull the trigger.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he didn't pull the trigger. It's another case in San Antonio where they're saying he did. We don't know yet. I don't want to put that on him. But the 55 years for Ethan Walker, in Arlington, Texas, the burglary or whatever, he didn't pull the trigger. I feel like that was a little bit too much, but the song played a part of it.
The race. Yeah, I mean, people worry about interviews, but the reality is most times the music gets played in these trials.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. Happened to Boosie during his murder trial. It's going to happen like the YFN Luccis who are locked up for RICO, the Casanovas, the Pooh Shiesties. Their music is going to be exhibits in that shit, whether they like to or not. It just is what it is. These DAs are going to grab everything they possibly could to paint the picture that they want to paint to that jury, or basically force them to take a serious plea deal. And it is what it is, unfortunately. Another Dallas rapper, Lil Loaded.
Yeah, that was my artist as well.
You signed him?
We did a partnership deal. My homie Jay found him, and the next day, was it the next day? Yeah, if you go on my Instagram, you see me with him at Epic Records.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did a partnership on him, no. But we found him extremely early.
Yeah, I interviewed him. Did I do his first interview? No, I did like his second interview. I think Genius did his first interview.
Yeah.
And I probably did his second one. And I remember we did the interview and his management wanted us to scrap the whole thing. Right? I don't know were you involved in this whole like back and forth at all?
I heard it was a back and forth, but I didn't really get any details.
There was a back and forth. They came in, and they were like, we want you to just toss the whole interview. So initially I agreed, but then the pandemic happened and suddenly I had a crew of people that had nothing to edit. So I had to come back and say, listen, I told you I would do this, but at this point it's going to have to come out. And if you guys have a problem with me, if you don't want to work with me later on, I'm going to have to just accept it because my staff is my top priority right now. So the interview came out and it did really well. Like it got millions. It was probably his biggest interview ever. And he was sort of on his way at that point, and it seemed like, he was getting features and he was building up. And then from what I understand, he was shooting a music video and accidentally killed his friend.
Yeah.
So what happened exactly?
I'm hearing the same thing that's being reported, that I guess somebody was taking a picture or a selfie, and I think he accidentally pulled the trigger and killed dude. But I think his family was still kind of upset about it a little bit. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of different stories, but he accidentally pulled the trigger and he had shot his mans.
Right, Savage Boosie. And his friend died. He went on the run for a while.
Yes.
But then he ultimately turned himself in.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was on bail?
Yep. He was on bail. He got out he got out pretty quick.
Yeah.
He didn't stay in too long.
Right.
And
how long was he facing? Do you know?
I know they the latest I've heard was it was knocked down to a manslaughter.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it was probably, I heard maybe 1 or 2 years, nothing more than that.
Okay.
That's what I heard. I don't know, through management, they kind of told me a little, but it was kind of a gray area for a long time. But then the manslaughter came out, and then I was hearing maybe 1 to 2 years with like probation, parole, some shit like that. I don't know.
Okay. But then, and this is where the story gets fuzzy again, you hear that his girlfriend had broken up with him or she had cheated on him or something, and then he ended up killing himself.
Yes.
And he was how old?
2021. Easy, like so unexpected. So unexpected. And he went gold a week before he did it. Block Baby is a gold record. He was on his way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously the looming threat of prison must have played a role in his mental state, right? Because the person who just had a gold record, whose girlfriend breaks up with him, usually would be like, all right, I'll just go get another girl. I'm 20. It is what it is. But when you're also facing prison time, and as someone who grew up in a very rough environment, which is what we talked about, like his brother had been killed and everything else like that, he finally gets a taste of the good life for the first time, knowing that he's about to go into a cell for a year, 2 years. And you don't even know. I mean, because until you sign that plea deal, those numbers are all over the place.
Yeah.
They throw out football numbers to begin with, and then you got to whittle it down over time. I mean, when you found out that he had, I mean, and he did kill himself, right? That's the official thing.
Yep. Heard he shot. My bad. Heard he shot himself in the mouth.
He put a pistol in his mouth and killed himself.
Yeah. That's what I heard. But I don't want to say I don't want to say it was about a girl. I think a lot of shit that's built up, like you were saying. I think maybe it was really an accident. Maybe he was, he really felt bad about killing his friend. Maybe that was eating him up inside.
Right, but wasn't there some Instagram post, like an Instagram story post about like, God, like, please forgive me or something? You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? There was really, it almost seemed like a suicide note in a way.
Yeah, that was the suicide note.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. So you could say it's an accident, but then again, when you see those pieces fit together, it's a sad story, man. For a 20-year-old, bro. Like I'm 48. Like I'm more than twice his age, and.
But Loaded, he blew up really quick, like overnight. He did a YouTube review. A YouTuber did a review on him.
A Polish, we actually talked about it in our interview. We'll actually get to that part right now. Yeah, a Polish YouTuber was reviewing music videos with 0 views.
With 0 views.
You put the music video on YouTube, and this Polish YouTuber named Tommy Craze did a video where he took a bunch of videos that had 0 views.
Yeah.
And he reviewed it. And one of those videos was yours.
Yeah.
And in the video, he's like, I mean, he's not dissing it at all. He's like going crazy over, and he's like, this is like the best one out of the bunch, and this is lit. And he's going crazy over the whole thing. And at the time, the video had 0 views. How long after that Tommy Craze video did the video start moving?
First of all, shout out Tommy Craze. Tommy Craze my nigga. Just cause he's solid, you know what I'm saying? He genuine, he real with everything. So shout out Tommy Craze. But I had just dropped the video that night that he was reacting to him. That's why I say I feel like it was meant to be. I was supposed to drop the video 2 weeks before, but the person who was gonna upload it and stuff, computer was down, and he had to drop it then. So he dropped it, and he reacted to it like, I want to say maybe an hour after, if that, like he reacted to it ASAP. And then the next morning when I woke up, it went crazy.
He really blew up overnight, like literally overnight. So I think a lot of that played into the lifestyle too. Like, I don't really think he, you know, most rappers have to grind years and years and years before they blow. He got that shit overnight. So I think the lifestyle played into it. It just happened so fast. And like, even when we had one-on-one, sometimes he just wasn't happy. He was just naturally just sad or angry at something, or I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, let me just say this, you know, as someone who has a therapist himself, like, you know, I have someone I talk to every week to just kind of get my feelings out and so forth. I think not enough people do that. And a lot of times you don't have homies that really you could be 100% open with and talk about your feelings and talk about certain things, because especially being in the public eye the way we are, you're always worried that these people are going to run to the internet and basically, you know, expose
yeah,
all your shit publicly for some clout and twist up your stories. This has happened to me personally. I mean, you know, when someone who you think is a friend ends up basically running to the internet and starts blabbing all about your personal conversations, you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to. You don't feel like you can't talk on the phone because you're worried about someone recording you. You're worried about even hanging out with people, they might be recording you and so forth. So this is why, you know, mental health is a really important thing. And if you feel like you're going through something, go get a therapist. You know, they have like these, you know, I don't use it myself, but they have these services like Talkspace where you could even talk to someone, you know, on your phone, and your insurance will probably cover it, or just, it's not even that expensive, where you could really just get your feelings out and have someone who's actually a professional and has been through these types of situations before. They could talk you through it, because putting a pistol in your mouth is not how you want to end your life in any capacity, you know, to the point where you feel like there's just too much going on and you can't deal with it. And it sounds like, you know, I mean, listen, the type of trauma that this young kid went through, from his brother getting killed, he got shot in the hand. I remember we talked about that in our interview. You know, there was the whole gang affiliation and so forth. And then you go and kill your friend on accident. And then you're facing jail time, and then your girl breaks up with you. Like, it's all just closing in. And you have to have someone to talk to. You can't just keep it all inside of you.
Yeah, he gained 400,000 followers after his death.
Yeah, that's not anything to really be proud of, unfortunately. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't.
I just don't get it. Like, you know, why do people do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do people follow you when you're dead? Are they curious? Is it fake love? Is it just in case you post? Is it just to say you've been there? Shit's crazy.
Yeah, sad. Now, you actually have your Mount Rushmore tattooed on your arm.
Yeah, damn, yeah. Shit crazy. I was about to say, how you know that? But I did put it on my Instagram.
You did, right. I'm the feds. That's how I know. We got it. we got surveillance photos of you. You know what I mean?
I do.
No, you actually put on your Instagram for anyone who's going to use this as as one of these little moments to prove that Vlad's the feds. Now, on your arm, you have Kobe, Michael Jackson, Lil Wayne, and Floyd Mayweather.
Correct.
Interesting group of people. I haven't seen those four. Well, because usually when people put their Mount Rushmore, they usually stick with one genre, but you actually jumped all over the place.
Definitely.
So explain.
Well, shit, Kobe, just the Kobe mentality, like, wanted to be better than everybody, wanted to work harder. Well, he did work harder. He grew up, well, his prime was in my era, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
It's just Kobe Bryant, man, like, the will to win. Floyd Mayweather, kind of the same thing. Like, people talk shit about Floyd, but it's just perfectionist, always working out, always waking up early in the morning, discipline, being focused. Wayne outwork, like, one thing about Wayne that I hear about a lot, just out, like, he's gonna record every day, fucking, just Wayne, man, the greatest rapper ever, man. Like, I don't really know what to say. And then Michael Jackson is just Michael Jackson, the biggest artist of all time. I mean, people like to argue with that, but he is. And one thing all four of these have in common is it's the work ethic. You know what I'm saying? You know, people like to nitpick it and say these guys do that or they was doing this, but this is just, you know, the work ethic. And I got it.
Strong lineup. You can't say that those are not 4 great men by
Yeah.
any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. So from what I understand, due to your platform, do labels actually hire you and pay you to find new talent? Or is it really more just the artists that you sign yourself?
It's the artists that I sign myself. I'm independent now. Like I'm not, I partner with labels if they want to sign an artist, but no, I'm independent.
And what's really the key? As someone, and we talked about SpotemGottem, Cash Page. Who are the other artists that you've signed?
It's a lot of them. To be honest, I really found 30 Deep Grimy. He's under me as well.
Really?
Yeah, Lil Loaded. I have an artist right now named Darrow. He's out of Georgia. He's going up crazy. Shit, it's a lot. Big K Beezy going crazy. It's a lot, man. But yeah, like when I look for an artist is like to be honest, cause me and Gucci Mane had came at me about he had words about Say Cheese. You know about that?
No, what happened?
Yeah, Gucci Mane he wanted to sign a few of my artists. And he had commented on Say Cheese one day, broke ass blog page or some shit like that. I don't know why, but he wanted to sign SpotemGottem and another artist. But really, what I'm looking for now in an artist is I want an artist like Lil Baby who kind of had a hustle before rap. I don't give a fuck if you work a 9 to 5. I don't give a fuck if you selling weed. To me, that shows a lot about an artist. And to be honest, I hate giving artists money. I like paying for their music videos, studio time, if you need some drip, but I don't like the sugar daddy shit. You feel me? I'm leaving that alone now. Like starting 2000, like now, starting this interview after, I'm leaving that alone. When I sign you, because when you sign an artist and you give them money, you become a trick, kinda. They spend the money, they smoke. It's like they don't respect your money. You know what I mean? They spend it all on weed and they doing all this, they doing all that. No, I'll give you my platform. I'll pay for your music videos. I'll travel, studio time, beats, but I'm not doing all that. I need an artist who at least working a job and shows a little bit of money management before we get into, some crazy shit. And the only reason why I mentioned Gucci was because, artists was mentioning to him artists were mentioning to Gucci Mane that I was giving them bad deals. But the deals I give artists aren't label deals, they're artist development deals. So I may give you 5 or 10 grand so you can maneuver while I'm building you up to build your leverage to sign you to a label. But I hate giving artists money in the beginning because they don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, signing an unknown artist is probably the riskiest business move that anyone could make. You will actually make way more money with lottery tickets, with scratch-off lottery tickets, than you will trying to sign brand new artists. Even the labels, man, like the reason why these deals are set up the way they are at the labels is that out of 10 albums that a label will put out, 9 of them will lose money. And the one that does really well pays for the losses of the other ones. So the artist that blows up always complains, oh, I got a bad deal. But the nine others that lost money for the label, they don't have to pay that money back. They're not saying nothing. So it's one of those things, man. I really salute you for actually doing that time and time again, because we're talking about your successes, but how many artists have you signed that literally was just a waste of money for you?
A lot.
A lot. If you look at the percentages, artists that you made money with versus artists that you've basically lost everything that you invested in them.
I'll say 30% really kind of got out the red.
70% loss rate.
Yep.
You have a 70%, any business with a 70% fail rate will usually just go out of business.
Yeah.
Right, except for music.
And I'm coming
is sort of...
And on a lot of these artists, I'm coming out of my pocket, like me believing I'm not no big label over me. I'm not using their money. Like a lot of it is because I believe,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about Dallas, how many people saw Post Malone early on? Who would have thought that Post Malone would be like the biggest artist in the world right now? You probably heard of him before he blew up, right?
Right when White Iverson dropped, that's when I first, it literally had 300 views and it went stupid. But that's when I first heard of him though.
Yeah, I mean, that's when a lot of us heard of him. But I didn't think that White Iverson would turn into what he is today.
Exactly.
Like the biggest, I think, didn't he have the biggest selling album of 2020? Like of any genre? Like on that level?
And he's like top 5 on like Spotify monthly listeners.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he is the monster. Rappers could talk about who the biggest artist out of Dallas, but once you mention Post Malone, that conversation is over.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. Numbers wise, that conversation is over at that point. And that's the thing, is that to be able to see that vision of someone who's got 3,000 followers, 300 views, a SoundCloud page that nobody listens to, and to say like, yo, I'm going to actually pull money out of my pocket and invest into this, knowing there's no recouping, knowing this person will never pay me back if he fucks off this money or if it just goes nowhere. And to have that actually be successful, to get signed to a label, to have the artist actually blow up, to have songs like Beatbox and so forth, man, I think it's a major accomplishment, man. And I think that you positioning your brand into that, because quite honestly, I've never been able to do that myself. You know what I mean? I've seen some artists over the day, but I've never really been bold enough to say, okay, cool, I'm gonna actually devote my time and energy and money into this because I believe in it. I've just always been focused on my part of the business. So the fact that you actually use your platform and have been this successful at it, man, congrats.
Appreciate
Most
it.
people cannot do that. It's really like the hardest job in the world. Really the hardest job in the world, man. Well, listen, man, Shawn Cotton, Say Cheese TV. Always a pleasure, man, when we sit down and talk. Me and you communicate. Whenever I hit you, you always hit me back. I've been watching what you're doing. I've always been, very impressed with all the moves that you've been making and the way that you've run your business. I appreciate, whenever I get mentioned, the way you talk about me publicly, I think is I appreciate that as well, because you don't have to do that. You could just go on to the next topic, but pointing out that, that what I did actually had some influence on you and talk about how other brands, I think you had mentioned this one interview, like, you saw a lot of brands that fell off because of the way they do business, but you look at the TMZs and the VladTVs as the ones that have sustained. When I read that, I'm like, oh, that's dope. That means a lot for him to say something like that, man.
It's real. It's real. It's hard to, y'all been at the top for so long. It's hard to stay at the top. You seen World Star, they ran the 2010s. Now look, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit changes.
Well, Q died. The founder died. I mean, think about where Say Cheese would be without Shawn Cotton, or VladTV would be without Vlad. It's a hard, look at Zach TV.
Yeah.
Zach TV, once he passed away, they could have kept it going, but unfortunately, it doesn't appear that they did. And I actually reached out to the family just to see what they were doing. It doesn't seem like there's anyone there that could really keep that thing going when they really could keep it going if someone was really motivated enough. But it takes that one person to be so obsessive, with that business and sacrifice everything, including sometimes their own lives, to really expand it, man. And that's what you've done in your business, man. And I salute you. And I feel like we're just at the beginning of the Say Cheese Shawn Cotton story.
And I appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Until next time.
Love.
Peace.